folks, welcome back. Rudy, Alpha Investments. Dear Rudy, what is it, boy? What is it? What is it, boy? Always a lot of chatter about the old Magic sets and specifically listing the Fallen Empires, Ice Age, Chronicles, Homelands type era. Do you ever think there's going to be a day? I'm going to stop right there. I would like there to be a day that some of these era of cards come back with a vengeance, but I'm not fully committed to believing that we will live to see that day. So we're going to pause there, take a little moment through memory lane. This is an important thing for everyone to understand. Unless you're in the Magic world or the collectible world, all the normal, non-crazy people don't understand that most Magic cards from the 90s, from a raw quantity standpoint, are still kind of financially worthless. So again, I would be willing to bet that at least 90% of every Magic card ever printed in the 1990s is still bulk priced. And that's crazy sounding because normally, it's just, hey, Rudy, I got this buddy. My buddy says, dude, his grandmother passed away, bless her heart. And she had 3 hamsters and a gerbil that collected in the basement. And they found the collection of 90s Magic cards. There's got to be at least 7,000 Black Lotuses. And while I know it's kind of a meme and joke, but I get messages like that. Like, people send me pictures and messages all the time of, 5 fake Black Lotuses. Rudy, I'm looking to sell these. I'll take 60% of eBay sold, And it literally is just a blank piece of paper with a drawing of a Black Lotus and, some chick's phone number, And I say, I thank you for the phone number, but your drawing's not very good. But no, seriously, people don't realize that to this day, most cards from that era are bad. So let me give a little bit more kind of context, everybody. This goes to you, all you 100+ Kickstarters and all you new CCG people out there. Remember, in the 90s, Wizards took off. Magic boomed. Chronicles, Homelands, Fallen Empires, Ice Age, 4th edition was when they amped up the print runs. Because the demand was high, the loud people, the loud Timmies, who were the most loud on the internet, at the time, not on the internet, but in person in stores and everything, became very angry at the price of Magic. Therefore, Wizards responded by increasing print runs so much, let's just say people stopped complaining at 4th edition Ice Age and Chronicles about the high prices and the availability of new Magic. And as we've talked about on this channel, the day people stop complaining about the inability to acquire the new sealed product, or they're overpaying because investors are manipulating their stepsister, the day that these people stop getting upset, the day they stop combining into the Red Power Ranger and yelling on the internet, is the day the company overprinted. It is in trouble. That leads to bear markets, failures, and gluts of inventories and negativity. And we got to remember, Wizards also fell for that, and which led to the creation of the reserve list and other problems and things that, we have today. Allocation periods for new release sets, printed demand where they release it, they wait, they watch the market to determine how much more to make. All these things and these checks and balances and systems in place are from learning and feedback and mistakes and missteps of the 90s and 00s. So when I see, even in 2022, messages asking about reserve list cards in Homelands, Ice Age, Fallen Empires, technically Chronicles doesn't have, those are not reserve lists, those are reprinted white border cards, but I want to believe there'll be a day when expected value of a Fallen Empires box is $500 for just cracking it. And a sealed box of Fallen Empires is $10,000. Sure, I'd love that. Because, I own over 100 boxes of sealed Fallen Empires, and I'd love for that to happen. I'd make a lot of money, and Greedy Rudy would be like, rah, 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 fat cat. But that's, the supply is just so high. I know many of the OG stores, the big boys around the United States that were around the 90s to this day, still have pallets of bulk, like wrapped and sitting in the back rooms or storage or warehouses of bulk cards, single cards, not sealed boxes. That's a myth. But there are. I mean, I myself have. I would probably estimate, I'd say I probably have 500,000, Ice Age unsorted cards, a couple 100,000 fourth edition, maybe like 50,000 to 100,000 revised, of just unsorted things that I've just never gone through from just accumulation over 20 years. Most of which were collection buying, and that was just some chunk. We were buying the expensive cards, and then we're like, all right, what do we got? A bunch of Ice Age here. Yeah, we'll add $50 to the collection. We'll just buy all the bulk. Things like that. And that's very normal in this industry. So, yes, there's reserve list cards in that particular window, that era of Magic's history. But there's a lot of bizarre uncertainties with it, because the people involved with that today, like, I guess the best way to say it is, if there was an Ice Age card that went to $1,000, I know, extreme example. Just humor me, everybody, humor me. Just hold hands, let's frolic together and prancer size. If there was a $1,000 Ice Age rare, I don't know, LeGroy for Jester's Masker Cap, one of the infamous cards. Uncommon Icy Manipulator, because that artwork apparently had some hidden secret thing, or I don't know, whatever. Let's say, for some reason, that Ice Age had a $1,000 card. I can tell you for a fact, I would probably not film videos for a few days. I would go through hundreds of thousands of Ice Age cards to probably sell at least 10, 20, 30 of those to make $10, $20, $30,000. Because that's the way of just supply-demand economics work. If something becomes so extreme, there's times that you do have to just lock in profit and roll it over to, I don't know, ABC XYZ stock or a bond or some other sealed product or reserve list card. Because the concern is that, there are so many cards from that era that have been destroyed, that are worth nothing, that people have. Because the thing is, there's so many in people's random closets, in people's, ex-girlfriends' basements, and in random parents' houses and grandparents. There's just random shoe boxes and long boxes of these things. And people are like, oh, I can, a store offered me $20, said screw it, I threw it in the closet and I left it. That's a real thing. And people are going to see online, holy crap, there's a $1,000 Ice Age card. And people are going to be like, I remember buying Ice Age at that time. Let me see if I have one or two of them. And suddenly my $30 box is worth a couple grand. That's one of the things in my head that holds me back. Now, I know it's an extreme example. Does that not mean cards from that era can't continue to drift upwards, especially reserveless ones? They probably can, and they probably will. And I can't really tell people that you shouldn't touch those. Just, I just wouldn't go all in on speccing on cards that we know have very high supply that are out there. They may not be on the market, but I assure you, they are out there. And most people don't care that they're out there because there's no financial incentive to dig in the ground and pull up all the old ET games. There's no incentive. Now, if something changes and there's a financial incentive, well, everyone's attitude can shift very quickly. So this type of conversation comes up every couple months. And again, I would love to see a time where a lot of these old things go up. And I do think as we march forward, they will continue to drift upwards. It's kind of just like that slow movement. But the idea of people speccing and expecting huge rates of return or crazy insane numbers, or putting $100 or $500 into each card from that era, I don't know if is that worth it versus taking $500 and buying, I don't know, an Arabian Nights reserve list card. $500 towards, I don't know, a couple Antiquities original strip mines that aren't even reserve list, or an Antiquities, I don't know, Suchi or Archaeologists or Gate Defy Rexias, or or putting it towards, Atano's Coffin, or, just any of these heavy hitting cards that are, I don't want to use the word guaranteed, but are essentially going to hold value. And that's where the conversation comes to a full stop, because we really just don't know. And that's the difference between the amateurs and professionals. You got to determine what the difference is between the risk level, because you don't know the opportunity cost.